volume, pump up the 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 volume.
What's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? We got a special guest. Today. We got Jose Shorty Torres. All right. So, for those of you who don't know him, Titan FC flyweight and bantamweight champ. We got a champ coming on the podcast. Should be fun. It's not going to be too long. We're just gonna ask him a couple questions, and then we were gonna talk all UFC 220, but UFC 220 isn't like, it's nothing really to go nuts over. So we're just gonna do the DC Ozdemir fight and Stipe and Francis. He's gonna be calling in. He's gonna be calling in like 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Who knows? It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to him. Should be fun, and yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna bring this up probably on the podcast, but he is 25-1 as amateur fights, and he's 6-0 as a pro. And another thing that's pretty funny, I might ask him about it, is that he will post and kind of troll the UFC into signing him. It's I think it's funny. But yeah, oh, here he is. Oh, are we here? What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. About yourself?
Not much. Super excited to have you on. So what have you been up to today?
Just finished getting beat up, showering, now talking to you.
Nice.
How about you?
Nice. I left work a little bit early because I told him I had some business to take care of, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it works.
So I have the real life champ on my podcast right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it true that the champs do whatever the fuck they want?
Oh man, I wish that were true. If that were true, I'd be fighting in the UFC already.
I know. I was just talking about it. I love looking at the posts that you put out, and you're just trolling the UFC and signing you.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, they've called me 6 times, and it's just been horrible timing where, I'm always injured, or it's just super last minute. Coincidentally, I've been injured for every single call, but I mean, they've all been last minute, either 10-day notice or 5-day notice. So I'm not a huge fan of that. Mainly what I've been able to accomplish so fast and so early in my career, it's like, hey man, I think I deserve a little more respect, and I think I deserve a contract instead of a call. Definitely.
I like the post you put on Instagram, the It one, where it, I forget what it said. It was
the UFC contract that come on here.
Yeah, come on down. That was a good one.
People have been making a lot of memes, and it's cool to see. Memes are funny. I don't take them personal, and it's just cool to see everyone back me up in different little ways, and everyone does believe that I should be in the UFC, including myself, and but I can't really depend on it. I have to keep on fighting and just see what's next for me. Yeah,
that's another thing too, is you have some of the coolest fans that like are diehard supporting you, and like I kind of was a little confused on the term fan for a while, but I guess it's kind of just people that actually want to see you do good, and you have some of the coolest fans. They're always supporting the merch, like using the hashtags on Twitter, the we can, we will, together we are Team Shorty on Instagram. And some of the other cool stuff you do on Instagram is you do a lot of stuff with kids. Can you talk like a little bit more about that?
Yeah, man. I've been in Oh, I've been involved with kids pretty much all my life. Even when I was a kid, I was always taking care of the younger ones. It just so happened that I've always wanted to be a big brother or a hero figure. And, well, the more I started winning MMA fights, the more people started getting inspired, whether they were younger than me, my age, or older than me. And, kids are just one of those things that anytime they wanted to hang out or just, do things. Chicago's not the best neighborhood, even Cicero, where I'm from. It's just... you run into the wrong crowd, and I've been through my fair share of bad moments, and it's like, if I can help this kid get out of the street and hopefully make a better decision than I did when I was younger, or other people that I know, it's like, let me try to help. Anything helps, and I'm just glad to be a part of a lot of kids' lives.
Yeah, that's awesome that you do that. Speaking of Chicago, I was hoping you'd bring it up. You have 2 murals in Chicago, is that right?
Correction, I have 3 murals.
Oh, no. Dude, what is that like
3.
when you're driving and you drive past the mural and it's just, you have the 2 belts over your shoulder and it says champ on it?
I try my best not to make eye contact. No, man, it's real cool. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Holy wow, this is way bigger than I expected." The first one and the biggest one it's like 2.5 stories high. So this thing is huge, and my head is huge already. So I'm like, "Oh my god, this is great." So I was loving it, and people were just taking pictures. And actually, the very first one, because of the area it's in, they actually gated that part, but you still see the mural. And so people, instead of like hopping the fence, they just take a picture, by the gate. And it's just real cool that people still support it. And it's in a very, very busy neighborhood to where there's always traffic. You have no choice but to look at it. And it's really cool that people want to support. And even my hometown, Cicero, that I live in now, these guys, the suburb right next to Chicago, these guys are like, "Hey man, we'd love a mural in Cicero too." And so, we painted a mural, and all my high school buddies and just kids that know me, they take pictures and send them to me with my gear on in front of the mural. It's real cool. It's there's usually only 2 reasons you see fighters get it painted up. It's either because they were going somewhere and sadly they passed away, and they're it's a mural out of memory, or these guys are living legends. You see murals of Pacquiao, Triple G, Canelo, Mayweather, and all these other fighters. It's like it's really cool that I'm in a sense joining the legacy.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like, just the support that you get from Chicago, the fact that you have 3 murals throughout the city it's incredible. How did you even get into fighting? I was looking on the website. It said you were in karate at 4 years old, and just kind of how'd you get into it, and what's your inspiration other than just becoming the champ in the UFC?
Man, it's when I was younger, my favorite shows were like Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z, watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, and just all these shows that involve fighting. Plus, I didn't have the best upbringing in the world, so my father and my brother either always picked on me or they wanted to play fight. So I always was naturally defending myself, and I always had a lot of energy. So I just wanted to, in a sense, be the hero, be different from my family and some of my friends. So my mom was like, "You know what? Let's put him in karate," and I ended up sticking with it instead of the usual kid in Chicago where they do karate, eventually start to venture off when they're a teenager and just never come back. I ended up staying with it, and my mom, even at times when I wanted to quit, when I've had struggling days or whatever the case may be, she made me go to all my events and made me do so many sports. I mean, I did football, baseball, basketball, karate, and just so many things all year round. It's ridiculous how many things my mom had time for just to take me. So, if it wasn't for her and really keeping my focus on staying out of the streets and just being active, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. She put me in literally every single thing possible. And when I was 16, I joined Combat Do, where I'm at now, and I've been able to learn what I've been able to learn with Master Bob Shermer and Combat Do, and because of them, I've been able to join Titan FC and be a 2-time world champ as an amateur and as a pro. And even though I travel to train, just because I don't have the bodies at my level, at least at home, my head coach still at home calls me every day, and we figure things out on the phone. Like, "Hey man, just here from Amiga caught me with a couple of things. What do I need to do?" And he'll explain everything over the phone. And it's real cool, man. It's I don't know. It's martial arts been around all my life. It's not saying that's the only thing I know because I do have my college degree, but it's definitely made me the person I am today.
What do you think about if you were brought up in martial arts and you're dedicated to the sport, what do you think about like the guys like Conor McGregor, like the guys that are kind of out there when they're talking smack to the other guys? Do you think that's kind of putting a bad name on the sport, or do you think it's just part of the fun?
Honestly, it's part of the sport. It's part of the fun. You know, you hear of boxing, you hear of MMA, you hear any combative sports. There needs to be some type of rivalry to not just have the usual fan.
Yeah.
To watch. The fans are always going to watch it. They know about fighting, know about MMA. But if you're just some random Joe Schmo that knows nothing about fighting, somehow you know about Conor McGregor, somehow you've heard of Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather, not just because they're talented fighters, but they talk smack and they're on the news because of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's people are starting to know who Colby Covington is now.
Yeah,
you know,
Colby,
just
yeah.
because of the whole problem. You know, no one knew who he was, no one really cared, but now he's talking smack. Either you like him, want to see him win, or you hate him, want to see him get his butt kicked.
Yeah.
It's just people know who he is now. It's I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm more of a, if you followed Manny Pacquiao back in the day of just bumping up, having fun, and going in there smiling, just beating up people. That's the thing I like to do. I like to fight the next best guy, and I'm not much of you got these champions calling out guys that are number 5, number 6, and number 10, not even ranked, and it's not cool. They're trying to go for the more popular fights these days instead of who is rightfully next, like Khabib or Ferguson,
Yeah.
So it's I'm not a fan of it, but I show in my own little way that out of my 6 pro fights, I've won 2 belts and I defended both of them. I could have just stayed at 25, and my last fight could have just been down at 25, and it would have been a much easier fight. But I decided to take a tougher opponent because I wanted to show that I'm not just a champion, but I'm a dominant one at that, and stick to my word, and that's what I'm doing. Even February 16th, I got to defend another belt, so I'm going back down to 125 and showing my dominant self again. Yeah,
definitely. That's for the Titan FC 48, right?
Yeah, so that's for my flyweight belt, and it's the crazy thing is, it's an unknown opponent, but I'm a person that even in my post-fight interview for my last fight, I stated, what else do I got to do? I've already beaten the champion, and I've already beaten the number 1 contender. Now I'm going to go down the bracket, number 2, number 3, number 4. It's not entertaining anymore. I mean, that's cool and that's fun, but I'd rather take those risky fights in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I stated that in my post-fight interview, but now the crazy thing is the number 2, number 3, number 4 guy don't want to fight me. So now we have to just call people to see who wants to fight because no one wants to take the opportunity to fight me because it's a big risk for them to lose.
And the other thing, too, that I was going to talk about was on your Instagram, you were training with TJ Dillashaw. When you train with somebody like that, do you look at it, is it any different, or is it just kind of, that's another guy I got to train with? Is that all that is, or do you kind of get...
I look at it, it definitely is a little different because one, you're training with at least at the time, was a former world champ and now a current world champ, 2-time world champ actually now, but... TJ, one, has helped me out a lot. It's ridiculous how much he has helped me. But I first met him when I was helping him for the Lineker fight. I was his only training partner for that. Him and I went for a straight month.
Wow.
And him and I were so beat up after it because we were just going after it. It was really entertaining because I'm definitely a brawler and. Well, I can get in people's heads, and I just walk forward. So with TJ's movement, I'm just pushing forward and pushing forward. It doesn't matter how many times he's hit me and all that stuff. And, pretty much being the Lineker. And it was just a fun time. But even a month after that, I was like, you know what? Let me just chill. I've been hitting the head too many times. Let me stay young for a little bit. And, I was enjoying a month of just getting my weight down and running and just, staying in shape. And I fought Pedro Nobre, UFC veteran, and I knocked him out in 86 seconds.
Wow.
And it wasn't because I had the power to knock him out. It was just because, I caught him clean in a nice spot, and I was like, man, this guy's going to stand right in front of me and not move whatsoever. This is awesome. Compared to, sparring with TJ, who does nothing but angles, doesn't stop moving, and is throwing punches and kicks from you don't even know where, So, it was a game changer. So I kept on, hanging out with him and helping him for the Cody Garbrandt fight. And he helped me for my last one. And it's cool to see when you spar with a guy who really does go intense in sparring, like TJ Dillashaw. it gives you a real life scenario. It gives you that real life situation. So when you go in there against, my former opponents, it's I'm not saying it's not as hard, but I've seen it. It's not like you're going to show me anything new. I'm fighting against no offense, the Titan FC Bantamweight champion compared to the UFC, world champion.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. These guys are good, but that guy's great. So being able to spar with guys like that, Cup Swanson, Dotson. I mean, I've sparred with so many people. BJ Penn. It's ridiculous. So it gives you a little confidence boost. But even being here right now at ATT, it's I'm getting beat up because all these guys are just dominant at their game, and it's cool to get different looks. And I'm really just defining my craft.
I hear you. Who would your dream fight be?
I honestly don't know. I don't have a preferred fight. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'll call out the champion." I don't really care.
Yeah.
I would love to fight whomever. In the flyweight division. Most of them are all veterans now, just because DJ's such a dominant champion that no one has taken his title.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would just like to fight guys that were put on a show. I think the biggest show right now would be Tim Elliott. He is just a very fun and entertaining fight. It's a great story between both of us. He was the Titan FC champ before I was. He vacated it because he won the tournament. I ended up winning, and then I ended up being right now the poster boy for Titan FC. So it's a huge thing. It's like champion versus champion to see who would have been the real undisputed champ. And I think it's cool. Plus, him and I have trained together. We know a little bit about each other, so it'd make it that much more of a challenging fight.
And then with you and him, didn't you guys have a fight scheduled, or were you working on scheduling a fight?
Well, I was trying. I sadly got injured in my last fight. I was out for a month, and I got called twice. Once for December 16th, and then once for December 30th. Both to fight Tim Elliott, but I was still recouping from an injury. I just, honestly, I couldn't take it, and I definitely wanted to fight him, but because of injuries, I'm being fat too, I definitely couldn't take it. And I wanted to propose a fight for either January or February, but, people have money problems too. And I know Tim Elliott was very vocal about his money issues and the death of his coach as well. So he needed to get in there. He fought one of my friends, Mark De La Rosa, and, put on a show, and, he's on to the next one. But I definitely would like to fight him. I don't know if I'd like that to be my very first fight in the UFC. I definitely like to take a little more of a relaxed opponent. Tim Elliott's a dangerous guy. He's a very, very big 25er. He was a contender once, and he's the ultimate fighting champion. He is a very, very tough fighter. So I definitely like to get one or two before I'd fight him. But if that's the first fight, then so be it.
Definitely. And then the last thing too will just be just two picks for UFC 220 with DC and Ozdemir. Who you like in that one?
That's a tough fight because, DC is very, very dominant, and he's been dominant with all different types of fighters, mainly the stand-up fighters, which have been very dominant in their knockout performances. Gustafsson, Johnson twice. It's crazy to see what Daniel Cormier has been able to do, even against John Jones last time. He was more dominant than he was the first time. Yeah. So it's just John Jones is John Jones, but. Volkan Ozdemir, which was supposed to be my co-main event one of the times, which is funny.
Really?
He bumped up and he did his thing, man. He's never, from what I've seen at least, I haven't seen all of his fights, but I know he has never really, been winning the fight. He's always losing in the beginning, and somehow he comes back and just knocks people out, and that's the scary thing about Volkan Ozdemir. The only thing is, I give DC the credit because he's been dropped before. He's been definitely dazed before, mainly against Johnson, and he's fought back and put his Olympic pressure on.
Yeah, definitely. I like DC as well, just because really his only losses are against John Jones twice, and John Jones isn't really hearing a peep out of anybody, Yeah. But then the other one, okay, I'm a Cleveland guy. And then, so who I'm taking in this one. But Stipe and Francis, what is your take on these guys?
It's funny. Junior Dos Santos and I were talking about this fight. And, Dos Santos and I were just talking about how the UFC is 100% banking on Francis Ngannou to win.
I know.
you don't even hear of Stipe. Like
Nope.
Stipe's doing his own promotion.
Yeah.
So that's the messed up thing about the UFC. At least with this is they're even one-sided on this.
Yeah.
Hell, I could even see if the state allowed it, I could even see Francis Ngannou being the red corner. It's like what? How is that even? So. Ngannou's being taken care of at the UFC Institute. He's got sponsored by Body Armor. I mean, this guy's already making so much money. It's ridiculous. And it's awesome. Hey, man.
His story is
amazing.
Intense.
It's amazing. I mean, he is right now, we're actually making fun of it. He is right now the Russian from Rocky IV.
That's exactly what I said.
They're feeding him. They're all these doctors are everywhere, and he's running on the treadmill and stuff.
Yeah, I said that in my pod in another episode of it that he was just.
They're taking care of him. That's awesome. But Stipe is 100% a veteran, and even though Santos believes that Stipe is going to win the fight, I am honestly not too sure. Just because Francis Ngannou has been getting better and better every single fight, and whether or not the UFC wants him to win, I do believe he's going to win because he does have that extreme one-shot power. Mm-hmm. Stipe, though, he just I'm still going with Francis Ngannou, but Stipe, he's just one of those guys, man. He just never gives up. I mean, even against the Santos fight, they were just going at it. So he is a warrior, but can he take a one-shot blow from Francis Ngannou? Yeah,
definitely. The only other thing, about with Stipe, his story is incredible, but Stipe is over here in Cleveland, and he's a volunteer firefighter. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but he's the heavyweight champ of the UFC, knocks guys out in the first round. Oh, and by the way, he's a volunteer firefighter in Cleveland.
That's awesome. That's the cool thing is that he wants to do what he wants to do, and whether he loves doing it or just loves giving back, it's really cool to see. Again, this guy more than likely has a few $1 million in his pocket.
Yep.
But he's doing what he wants to do and just giving back because he can. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. But I will let you go. Do you have anything else that you want to plug? You got Team Shorty, your website for all your merch, and then on Instagram, and is it on Twitter too for the Jose Shorty Torres for the link?
Yeah, so everything is teamshorty.com. Actually, 20% of my apparel goes to the kids in my gym to travel and compete. So anytime there's an event, I actually I sponsored the competitors at my gym. They fight for the UMUF National Tournament in February. So 20% of my earnings go to those kids in my gym so they can travel and compete and just hopefully have the opportunity to, do things I, whether wasn't able to do or had to hustle really hard just to do. So, it's not just supporting me, but it's supporting, the people in my gym trying to make a come up as well. If this Shorty can make it out of the neighborhood, so can you. So everything at Team Shorty, 20% goes to the kids in my gym. And then if people want to follow me, Jose Shorty Torres on Instagram, Jose Shorty Torres on Facebook with quotations around Shorty, and Shorty Torres 125 on Twitter.
Thank you for coming on, brother.
No problem. I really appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, this was fun. Maybe we could do it again. And good luck at on February 16th, man. Real quick, where can people watch that at?
Yeah, so February 16th, Titan FC 48 live in Fort Lauderdale and live on UFC Fight Pass. 7-day free trial on UFC Fight Pass if you don't have it already. And if you do, just go to Titan FC, the page, the link will be on top the day of the fight. And it's, it should be a great thing. It's actually 3 title bouts that night, and I'll be the main event for it.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on again, man.
No problem. I appreciate the time. Take care of yourself.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There he was. That was Jose Shorty Torres. Go follow him. Go buy some T-shirts or something, man. He gave me some time. Gonna give him a shout out. That was fun. And even though he said Francis, I know he's secretly on the Stipe bandwagon. Yeah, guys. There it was. That was it. I'm going to head out. And I got another guest coming on next week. So, keep up with it. Because we're doing big things now. Here we are. This is us. This, that, and those. We're doing it. We're doing the damn thing. Maybe I'll get JC on the podcast next week if you guys want her on. I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put a poll up on Twitter. So yeah, if you guys want JC on, go vote, or don't. She might still be on. It's my podcast. Do what I want. Peace.